sticking to it. After months of rumors and leaks, Sony finally lifted the veil on The Last of Us remake, named The Last of Us Part 1.
Didn't
The
see that one
remake
coming.
was first reported by Bloomberg in April last year, covered by us on episode 39, He Must Be Single, was developed by Visual Arts Service Group before switching to Naughty Dog. The trailer and listing leaked just prior to the official reveal as the closer of Summer Game Fest. So it's coming out on the 2nd of September 2022 for PS5, with a PC release coming later. It's going to be a ground-up remake, including gameplay and accessibility features, and will include Left Behind DLC content, won't include factions multiplayer mode, which is going to be a completely separate game now. How do we feel about this, Sweeney, as the person who's, shamefully not played Last of Us? Part one, mind you.
Where's my shame bell?
Look, we've talked about this before. It's weird from a gamer perspective to hear that this game is being remade. From a business standpoint, 100% makes sense, right? This is a great money move, but the fact that the game still looked pretty damn nice with the remastered version, especially that came out on PS4, it is a strange thing to remake a game that soon. But look, I haven't played this game. I haven't played number 2, so I can't comment on my experiences there. But it's going to make them a lot of money.
It is.
Can't argue with
Probably. So, someone that has played the game and clocked it.
You've
twice,
clocked.
I think, would be me.
Have you clocked Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2?
Yeah, I clocked both of them. I didn't clock the remake of it. I think I probably got about halfway or 3/4 of the way or something through the remaster. God, he's mixing those up. But the very original one, when I played it, yes, absolutely clocked it. And I also clocked the DLC. And love the game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But I have to agree, I don't see the need to do a remake so soon. It still looks pretty damn good in its remastered version that you can already play. And look, the actual clips, and we'll talk about them in a sec, look fantastic in terms of the comparisons between the two and how much they've upgraded the graphics and stuff. It's just, I feel it's too soon. It's way too soon. However, one advantage is people that haven't played it, so yourself, for example, Swinny, is you can play them in order now, and they're going to sort of feel like a seamless experience.
I already own remastered, so I'm not going to go and spend $120
so you're going to
on
buy
a
this
game
one.
I've
It's
already
interesting, yeah.
played.
And if people haven't bothered to get, and they're fairly cheap games, so by
cheap.
now, so I feel like who is it really for? A lot of the fans that I'm seeing online aren't jumping for joy, saying, "Oh my God, this is exactly what we needed." At the same time, I also feel that maybe the resources, and I know potentially remaking a game isn't going to be as difficult as starting one from complete scratch, but I feel like he still used those resources that he could be using towards a part 3, for example. So I'm really struggling to see exactly who this game is for, and I know it sounds like it's going to be a cash cow, but from what I'm seeing around the community, I don't know if a lot of people are going to jump to buy this game, especially because it's a full price game. So I'm hearing that it's what, $125 Australian.
RRP, I know, it's
What?
fucking insane.
I mean, I know
And
that
it's like what Swinny
Demon
says.
Souls.
You genuinely can get it for like $10 in Australia.
It's
the
not going to look quite
remastered
as
version.
great, but
Yeah, but dude, is it
look,
$110 difference? I don't think so.
I don't. Well, it depends. If you haven't played it before, sure. I think it's worth the $125 as an experience. I think it is.
How could you say that and then on the other hand say wait
If you
to
haven't
play
played it before.
wait to play Resident Evil 4 for a couple of years for when it's like $20 instead of $80 on release? Makes no sense.
No, but I'm saying if you're comparing the two, no, I'm not saying get a day one, but I'm saying if you desperately really want to play this game now because you hyped into it and everything, should you play the remaster? Should you play the new one? I don't know. I reckon if you've never played the game, play the best possible version of the game that you can. Is what I would do. Is it worth $125? I don't know. Like it depends who you are, whether you played it or not. There's a lot of different things. But anyway, point is, I don't know if it makes sense to me that something like this is remastered so soon. It really doesn't. It made sense for a game like Demon Souls because that is fairly outdated in terms of the way it looks.
30 frames a second.
Yeah, there's a lot of upgrades that they made, and I think it was absolutely worth it. And that was a phenomenal game. this one, I think, is still going to be a phenomenal game. Don't get me wrong, because the original was, unless they screw something up majorly, it can't not be an amazing game. Especially for people that haven't played it. Fantastic! It's just such a cool experience. I don't know. I think it's too soon.
Can I just say, like, one thing about it, and it look, I gotta say carefully because I think it's unfair, like a literally unfair comment I'm gonna make, but it does kind of have the vibes of George Lucas and the special edition trilogy, right? Now, I don't expect it to like, and I'll show some comparisons as we're like chatting.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like it looks horrible. It's not like they've done the CG and it's like, oh shit, it looks bad, right? I'm not saying that, but it's just that the original game is held in a certain regard. Even the PS3 version of The Last of Us, people were like, it looks amazing even today. If you can get a good clean image from the PS3, it still looks unreal. It looks freaking awesome, right? And that's where, for me, it just feels weird. It's like you've created something that's awesome. You just don't need to muck around with it. You don't have to play with it. And it just gives me that vibe a little bit where it's like, why are you playing with this, man? You've got this like a beautiful thing and you're like remaking it. It's like remaking The Godfather because you want to have a
Blade
better
Runner or something.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't fucking get it. I like they're like putting a business cap on. Like there's a couple of things. There's the TV show coming out. So you've got like a game that's like $10 in the store, right? People like go, oh man, this TV show is awesome. I'm going to play the game. All right, yeah, well, buy a $10 game because that's how much
They're not going to make any money out of that.
And even Last of Us Part 2 is like $20 in Australia. It's nothing, right? So they're getting like, what, $30 for those games? Versus, I bet the TV show when it comes out, it'll be around the time that, the game is still going to be $100, the PS5 version. And people, it's going to be more prominent. It's going to be on the store. The other part of it is, I wonder, hey, we're going to take Last of Us remastered and put it onto PC. How much is that going to cost us? Because who knows how that's been built, right? Versus building a game from scratch that's built for PC and for PS5, very similar architecture overall, and, put it up and, like it actually, when you look at the dollars, it's like, hey, it's going to cost us millions to try to port this to PC. We could, spend a little bit more and get a brand new version of it. Like that's how business people look at it,
I can
right?
kind of see it from a business perspective.
But it just feels wrong. I don't know, man. This is like, to me, honestly, the most egregious cases of these remakes I've ever seen. And Sweeney, what, like, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Well, I just wanted to mention as well. So with the comparisons between the remastered version and this remake, obviously there's been a lot on the internet about this, and a lot of it is very justified. People like, I don't like the art style. To me, almost looks better in some of the shots of the other one. But what I think people need to remember is a lot of those comparisons are with cutscenes, and the cutscenes in the original and the remaster are actually pre-rendered. So it's not a direct versus the new one where it's actually rendered in real time. So I've actually seen tweets from people that are behind the scenes on the game that have said that, look, when you see direct gameplay comparisons, you will really notice the difference. And there are some screenshots, I think, of, I forget what they're named, but they're like the plant zombie things, right? Obviously, I haven't played the game.
Yeah.
Film zombies.
There's like, and you've seen the comparison shots of that and the remake. Like, it looks incredibly better in those screenshots. So I think that there's a lot of people out there spreading misinformation about the quality of the upgrade, whereas it is significant. But it doesn't obviously mean that, like you could, there is an art style change there. There's some people that do prefer the look of Joel in the original.
There is, but I think that's to align it mostly with the characters in the second game.
That is
my guess. Yeah, it's not so much because they wanted to completely change the art style. I think it's just because I remember Ellie in the original, she was kind of modeled on, or it looked like she was modeled on Elliot, who used to be...
Don't dead name her. Him.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
but that's true. It was totally modeled off that person.
Yeah,
it's
totally
like it was like shameless.
He complained about, well, not complained, but I remember that he noticed it and went, hey, what the. And it was when I first played the game, I thought it was actually modeled on that person as well. And I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, cool. I thought it must have been an official thing that they did. But clearly it wasn't. So in the second one, obviously as the character also matured, because in the second game she's much older, her facial features were different, and they went away from that look that the original had. So I can kind of see now, especially looking at the comparisons, that looks like the younger version of what the character looks like in the second game.
Yeah.
Which means, once again, if you play them back to back, I think you're going to have a much more cohesive experience going through that. So
it sounds like this
Sweeney,
is
do you
pretty.
feel like it's necessary? That's like the biggest thing for me.
Oh, 100% not.
No,
Like,
yeah,
no, I don't think it is.
like to me, like even the Demon Souls remake, I think was justified, but even that, still, you're remaking games from the PS3 generation. Like to me, like if you remake games, it kind of makes sense that like you remake older games because they're the ones that really need the upgrade in terms of technical and controls and gameplay. So it is weird to me. Definitely not necessary. It's like, are they going to start remaking Uncharted 4 next? You know, like it's just
Probably
weird. You know.
Yeah. But I think, but it's so Demon Souls. They'd never touched the game before. It was Demon Souls on PS3, then Demon Souls on PS5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas this is like you've got
It
not a
needed it.
remake. You've got the remaster. Now you've got the remake. It's like it just feels so egregious that
Got plenty of ways to play it already. You know?
yeah.
But,
and
look,
it's so
I'll be-
good, the PS4 version. Like that's the thing.
It is, yeah.
It just doesn't click with me, man. It's I'm super unexcited to play this. I feel like I'll never play this version of the game. Like,
But look, tell you what, if it was around the $50 mark, let's say, it's a buy for me. I'd love to play through that game
really,
again.
no.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an awesome game that I'd be happy to play through it again at
We're-
that price point.
We're going to mention this in a second, but the fact that they've also admitted the multiplayer mode is,
Yeah.
it's kind of like you're getting the DLC, of course, but you're not getting the full experience of what the original was as well. So that seems a bit weird, but look, it makes sense because well, maybe we'll talk about it now, but that multiplayer title was originally planned to be the multiplayer of Last of Us 2.
Yes,
That they
and it got
kind
too
of
big.
then yeah, and then they said, okay, well, let's make this its own thing. So they just showed some concept art, and Neil Druckmann at Summer Game Fest talked about it a little bit. But apparently will have its own story and characters, and apparently be as big as a single player game. So I have no idea what he's referring to there in terms of just like the world sizes, because it's a multiplayer game. So it's like, how do you compare the size of a multiplayer game versus single player game? It's really strange. to me.
Maps.
But maybe it's some of the emergent gameplay in it and the structured story elements of the multiplayer game. I'm actually super excited about the multiplayer game. I feel like this is something where, as the studio, it's like that's something new that they're doing. Like I think it would have been brutal working through Last of Us Part 2 given the content of the game. And I feel like that multiplayer mode, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. But normally things get bigger and bigger and bigger because people are like got a lot of energy and they're like, energized, and they've got ideas and they're throwing creative efforts into the game, and then it became its own thing. So like I'm really actually pumped about this multiplayer game. Did they ever promise it as part of Last of Us Part 2? Or was it sort of, they never said it was like gonna have it, right?
I've heard conflicting stuff because, the only thing I've seen are just people commenting about it, and you never trust that. There are people like, they said this would be part of number 2, but I mean that game came out so long ago. At this point, like if you're hoping that they're still adding that in, then you don't have hope, you know.
Because like smartly, they haven't said anything about it, but for me, it seems obvious this is going to be a live service game.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones that we talked about the rumored titles last episode.
Yeah.
This, your Twisted Metal and all that stuff. Like, this is 100% checking that live service box for Sony.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into...
One quick one,
go.
just before we jump on. Simon commented on our stream, and he said that they changed the face of Peter Parker in the remastered Spider-Man on PS5.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, that's because that was going to align with Miles Morales as well. So, like, very similar to what you're saying, Mike, in terms of, like, aligning the games. I played the remastered version, and it was
weird,
fine. Like, I didn't have an issue with it.
I thought it was also... making it more like the voice actor. I could be wrong, but...
I remember people saying about that, but...
I'm not sure.
Is it... Mike, do you remember? I think, did they change the voice actor in that game?
Don't know. Didn't play it.
Okay, yeah. Maybe don't bring these things up if you're not aware.
No, we, our fans are leaving us. Yeah, exactly. I got it.
Hey, there's people saying
we have
stuff
very few of them, so I got to cherish them.
People saying stuff on Twitch as well. So there's like more than just YouTube.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they did see Simon's come back to us, and he has actually said that they did change the voice actor. That's what I thought, and that's partly why. Because I think the voice actor then is the same voice actor in Miles Morales as well. They wanted to get rid of the old voice actor. I didn't, for whatever reason. Actually, that voice actor is also going to be in Midnight Suns. Is that what it's called, Swinny? The Marvel game?
Yeah,
the tactical game?
Look, just quickly, can I mention about it? That game just feels like it's getting off the wrong foot in every regard. Like
it looks weird, man.
I don't think that. I think it's very telling. A lot of people don't know what kind of game that is. It's not like an XCOM game. It's like
not an XCOM kind of game.
No,
that's what I heard it is.
It's strategy, but like uses cards and stuff. I don't know. It's weird. Like I think they're holding off on showing
Midnight
all that
Suns.
stuff. Yeah.
That trailer, by the way, was weird as hell with the Metallica song, and it was so weird the way they did it. It was just because you know how much of a fan of Metallica I am.
Yeah.
But I was like, this feels like someone's year 12, visual project or something. It was not quite right.
So I think the Call of Duty trailer also had Metallica. I think.
I skipped the Call of Duty
Wait
trailer.
till you see the Flashback 2
I could be wrong, but I'm like, because I remember seeing that and being like, wait, there's 2 trailers with Metallica songs that are both kind of like changed. I think the Call of Duty one had like a hip hop element to it. I think it was For Whom the Bell Tolls or something. Oh no, it was something else. But anyway, I think there was also Metallica.
Yeah, and all I was gonna mention is that Spider-Man in Midnight Suns is like the Spider-Man from Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales. Like it's the same voice actor
Update
and
the whole...
model and stuff like that. All right, let's jump into the next piece of news, Mike.